before over the years. My name is Joanna White, and I serve the Diocese of Maryland as the Canon for Pastoral Services, which means I kind of work for y'all. And I really do have the best job in the diocese, and don't let the bishop tell you any different. Well, I'm very delighted to be here this Sunday. There's no question about it. But it's a hard Sunday to zone in on. I mean, look at everything that's going on. It's the second Sunday of Christmas. It's the day after New Year's, which is also the Feast of the Holy Name. Whoever talks about that anymore. And the gospel has an epiphany ring to it. Two of the three mention epiphany. So, you know, the two of the three of our readings. So let's just go with that one. Now, epiphany, as you doubtless know, means to manifest or to reveal. My own sense of epiphany is that it's the feast of paying attention. Think about that for just a moment. All through the story of the wise men runs a theme, and that is of paying attention to what's going on around them at a very deep level. First, they were prepared themselves. They were wise men for very good reason. They prepared themselves with the study of their sacred scriptures. And their sacred scriptures talked about the appearance of a star. And so they were ready when they saw this new star appear. It was the visual symbol of what they had longed for all of their lives. And these learned men were humble enough to accept a mystery here, that there was something greater out there than they really could understand. However smart and well prepared they were, they didn't know everything. And they had to be brave in the way that they were able to set out. This was no easy thing, you know. I mean, they had to travel by camels. Have you ever been on a camel? It is probably the most uncomfortable thing on the face of the earth. And even I, who love animals, really have a hard time with these creatures. So it was no fun whatsoever. They set off on a journey that looks great on Christmas cards. You know how you see the silhouetted wise men on their camels in the twilight and the star coming out. And it's just beautiful. And it is not like that at all. Not at all. So I want to read to you T.S. Eliot's poem. We'll read it in snatches. This is the journey of the Magi. A cold coming we had of it, just the worst time of the year for a journey, and such a long journey. The ways deep and the weather sharp, the very dead of winter. And the camels galled, sore-footed, refractory, lying down in melted snow. There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes, the terraces, and the silken girls bringing sherbet. Then the camel men cursing and grumbling and running away and wanting their liquor and women, and the night fires going out and the lack of shelters and the cities hostile and the towns unfriendly, and the villages dirty and charging high prices. A hard time we had of it. At the end, we preferred to travel all night, sleeping in snatches, with the voices ringing in our ears saying that this was all folly. searching for God has never been easy. Most often, we have to stretch our minds. And here is the thing that's hard about that, stretching our minds. That unless we do that, unless we're open to knowledge and experience, we will never grow. Growth is only possible when we allow ourselves to be part of that in a very brave way. We have to leave the comfort of what is, and it takes great humility of knowing that there is something greater than ourselves, that there is something more than we can ever understand. Perhaps you've heard the saying, and this I love, it's been attributed to Hegel, but who knows? We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. How limited is that? And how much growth do we need to go beyond that? Had the wise men believed they had all the right information and feared the unknown, they would have never reached the point where they saw the face of God. T.S. Eliot continues, "Then at dawn, we came down to a temperate valley, wet before the snow line, smelling of vegetation, with a running stream and a water mill beating the darkness, and 3 trees on the low sky, and an old white horse galloped away in a meadow. Then we came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel, 6 hands at the open door dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskins. But there was no information. And so we continued, and arriving at evening, not a moment too soon, finding the place, it was, you may say, satisfactory." Like most poets, Eliot urges us to experience what is happening to the narrator and experience it on almost a tangible, soul tangible level. The visuals, the sense of temperature, the sounds, calling us to pay attention. Too often, we miss so much of what God is trying to reveal by not paying attention to the details of our lives. I've worked with everyone, from politicians to teachers to outreach workers and people involved in healthcare and business. And the goal was always similar: to be more effective in helping others. We have to be aware of what's happening inside of our own soul. We have to pay attention. How we are affected by the sight of the environment, the smells around us, the sounds, and our own sense of vulnerability and frustration. We have to pay attention. And the poet says there was no information, so we continued. They kept going. Pay attention. Keep going onward. And Eliot continues, "All this was a long time ago, I remember, and I would do it again. But set down this. We were led all that way for birth or death. There was a birth, certainly, we had evidence. And no doubt, I have seen birth and death, but thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death, our death. We return to those places, our kingdoms, but no longer at ease in the old dispensation with an alien people clutching their gods. It had all changed for them. Their old life was over. They were forced to see a new reality. We, if indeed we are paying attention and we experience a deeper sense of the divine, we will not be comfortable in our own lives. We might have to go back there, but we will be slightly ill at ease because we know more. But being ill at ease is not the end of the world. It make us more compassionate to those who do not yet know. And we can carry that compassion in our hearts and create a sacred place around us. It's very easy to create a sacred place around us. We can reach out our hands and get that sense, asking God that please make this a safe place for all who come near me. Please, Lord, make it safe. That's probably what they had to do. And there's another way of thinking about this. The last line of our gospel, that they went home another way. They were trying to avoid Herod, who would not want to avoid Herod. But they were trying to avoid evil. They were trying to avoid all that threatened the good. And so they created a different road for themselves, a different journey. And we may have to do that too. And that also pulls us away from all we've known. But in the end, it will be worth it. Pay attention. Amen.